Welcome back. We are into game number 1 of the deciding match of this group. In the bottom left on Overgrowth, we have our blue Terran, Jarppi. In the upper right, as the red Terran, it is Ruff. Now, these players have played before in the very first match that we cast, and Ruff took, I don't want to say easy games, but I guess they kind of were. Jarppi would survive, the basic stages of the game, maybe the first 8 minutes, and then things would quickly turn south in a very dramatic fashion. Ruff would suddenly look like, he definitely knew TVT a lot better. And that's what I expect to happen again. If you deal with weird stuff okay, then you deal with all weird stuff okay. If you don't, then, you're always going to have a tough time against Ruff, because Ruff has a billion different builds. Once you figured out how to defend one thing, he brings out another. And that's certainly why he is... I think that's why he's as good as players that he is. He's not really like the new Foreigner Hope in terms of Terran mechanics. He's not, he certainly has good mechanics, obviously in GM, but he's not, Korean level and we're just waiting for him to bust out. No, it's really that plus his builds, his variety of builds and how weird they are is what gets him very far. But maybe that's all wrong. Maybe Jarppi talked to someone and was like, hey, I'm having a tough time, what should I do? And they're telling him, focus on your mechanics, just play it safe. If you get to the mid game, you can definitely take it slow. I think that was his plan in the second game that we cast. The one that got a little farther, just ended in pretty much a doom drop from Ruff, was Jarppi was thinking, get to the long game. It was just, then doom drops become a problem. And they are always a problem in TVT, and some people are just that's what they really rely on, is doom drops. And they can be very hard to defend. Both players going for almost the same build. Same factory timings, same marine counts, just pretty much the same build, actually. He should be going up to a starport. Oh, well, actually, Ruff is getting reactor. I don't know, both get reactors. With no second gas for Ruff, I think he's going to stick with Hellions, but with a second gas for Jarppi, I think he's going to go ahead and go up to a starport with just reactored up Marines. Again, this was the map where Ruff does the proxy nuke. I really don't think we're going to see it, but it would be funny. This is a odd little poke. Usually if you poke with 2 Marines, you are trying to take advantage of the fact that they only have 2 Marines, so you bring in SCV to really make sure you win the fight. Ruff not doing that, just backing away, taking those all Naga. Hellions are in fact on the way, and Jarppi is in fact going for a starport, so correct predictions. Go me. Starport is on the way. I mean, you just always get a starport. Although Ruff did show us a couple of builds where he didn't, but you need a starport because you're going to go for Banshees, or you need it because you want a Viking in case they go for Banshees, and also just in case for air control, and killing the optional medevac every now and then is also very good. I think Jarppi should be going for the Banshee. The Tech Lab is done. It is on, and it is the Cloak Banshee. Ruff getting just a reactor on his factory, or his racks rather, could be going for the Marine Hellion drop. Oh, or not. No, wait. I'm trying to think. Ruff has shown us in TVT, if it's not something weird with Hellions, it's something weird with double or triple or even quadruple starports. That's his other go-to thing, I guess, in TVT. But with a reactor, that's obviously not going to be Banshees, which is what he got the starport for. He could just be going for a lot of Vikings and then taking the air control completely and dominantly, and then much later getting the Banshees, but first getting 6 Vikings, a Raven, and then the Banshees. This Hellion War is obviously going to go in favor of Ruff, who has dedicated a lot more to his Hellions faster than Jarppi. Jarppi just gets 1 Banshee, goes into a Raven. Both players don't really have great scout of each other, so Jarppi could have gotten away with double Banshee. But, with 4 Vikings on the map, they're going to kill the Banshees rather quick with just 1 scan, so probably still not worth it. I'm not sure how much his Raven is really going to do for him, though. The supply depot wall is way too late. He is losing the Hellion War. Obviously, he's going to continue to lose it, so I'm not sure why he wasn't a little more panicked and trying to get that wall up, and suddenly things have gone from just a normal TVT to, oh no, is Jarppi going to lose here? Oh, really? Like pulls a good amount of SCVs to just block for a little bit. Finally pulls them away, throws down a turret to help out as well. The Banshee of Jarppi trying to return some SCV damage. Ruff not quite paying attention, but he has scans and he's gonna have 4 Vikings very, very soon. This will take down the Banshee. No, that's not gonna hit. Yeah, dudded out. But he has more orbital scans. He even has a second one in case there was a second Banshee, which there is not. SCV damage on Jarppi's side was surprisingly reduced. I mean, 6 Hellions got in there with only 1 Hellion and 1 Raven to defend, and with a good SCV pool into the Hellions, he was able to defend rather nicely. So only down by about 8 supply. What's a really big deal, though, is that the command center, I mean, Jesus, look how different the timing is. Ruff is on the low ground, Ruff is already going. Jarppi's just started. So it's 25 SCVs to 27, yeah, but soon Ruff with double SCV production is going to just skyrocket. And better saturation, of course, as well. In terms of production, he's going to be able to throw down those extra factories or extra barracks, whatever he's going to choose to do, a lot faster. And also getting the counter Banshee as well. That's what I'm talking about, though. What? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess he is going mostly Hellions. Usually if a player's going mech, they'll get 1 reactor to every, like, 2 tech labs for their factories. I think is, like, the proper ratio. But he's just going to go for a lot of Hellions. Not unheard of. 4GG back in the times where he was just the new thing, the new, like, hype on TVT. He was going for nothing but Hellions, like, triple reactor even. So Ruff really likes that style. I don't know if he has quite enough to break this. You know, he lands the Vikings, thus losing the air advantage that he was almost guaranteed that many Vikings were out, but doesn't quite break it. Now, he finally breaks through the supply depot wall, but with that 1 Marauder and a couple of Hellions, his Hellions will not be doing any economic damage. They're going to go down. They're not going to be able to reach the SCV. Well, 3 does still do a lot of damage. The Marauders need to catch up. Oh, that turret takes the last hits away, and the SCVs actually gets the last Hellion. Raven, or rather the Banshees here. The Raven, of course, will provide detection, but there's not much shoots up. He has 2 Marauders, the auto turret, but that's it. No Viking, no Marines. This Banshee, as long as it avoids the turret, which admittedly does last a long time, is free to do whatever damage it can. Now, hopefully Jarppi doesn't need a Thor, because if he gets a Thor, I'm going to slap him. That's what I did last time. Of course, he was in a bit more of a panic last time, but now he's still in a panic. 3 Marines coming out can still be kited, but the Viking definitely will save him from losing too much mining time. This Banshee, I can't believe this Banshee knows much damage it is. Oh my god, he's doing. Oh. Well, the GG is called, but Ruff was going to go for a fusion core and 2 more starports, but that's, who needs that? All you need is 1 Banshee with someone with no Marines. And of course, I think you noticed the command center time. It was just so different. He wasn't getting back into the game anyways.
Sorry about that Hellion chuckle there. I accidentally unmuted my mic for a second. I was just kind of like, really? He's going for Hellions? And then I realized, like, when you stopped talking, you heard me, and I was like, oh, oops, like, that was a mistake.
I was wondering if you saw something really important, and I was like, oh yeah, it's, still a reactor.
No, sorry, I'm just crazy and I attack myself sometimes. So it's kind of like, oh, he's really going for Hellions? And then the second you, like, stopped talking, I was like, oh shit, did she hear me? Like, oops. But alright. So, game 1 gonna go in the favor of Ruff. I think a lot of this comes down to, too, like, he went for the 3 depots later on, but, like, had those been down at the start of the game, had the first barracks been placed part of that wall, like, at this point, not only is he a whole best of 3 down versus Ruff, but now he's down 1 game in this brand new best of 3. I kinda hope he gets it together and realizes Ruff is pretty good with his Hellions. If he can't get through the front, he'll go with a drop. And I don't know. We'll see if he defends against it this time or not, because this could once again be another 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this could be the last game for this series, this Knights, and of course for Jarppi, who would be knocked out. But I don't understand some people. Like, I understand people who don't wall off just as like as a norm. That's their habit. But when you face someone that obviously abuses that, you start to wall off. The people that don't, they just have like something in them that says like, oh, I really don't want to wall off. I don't really understand that, because there's not too many disadvantages to it.
That's the difference right there, though. That little voice in your head. That's the difference of like a tournament contender versus like a ladder hero type thing.
there's no reason not to even make it a habit, in my opinion. Like people always talk about the stalker being able to take down a supply depot, which is very annoying for sure. But does that actually happen that often? Well, not
Well,
really, not anymore.
I'd say especially with context of how much 111s tend to come into play for TVT right now, especially with the current
Yeah,
meta in game.
with the marine drop and the hellions, like always wall off because it would be the exact same thing where that instead of a stalker, it's a couple marines or even the tank on the low ground taking care of your supply depot. But I think that's totally okay. Like 100 walls and maybe a slight supply block because you don't consider making an extra supply depot as you watch it burn down is well worth it in exchange for not getting hellion run bys. I
Yeah.
like it also protects against potential proxy marauders if you can get two supply depots and a bunker up there. It really helps out. Like, I don't know. I always wall off in CVT because F that, unless I forget to rally my SED, which sometimes happens.
Yeah. I think you're just tuning in, by the way, guys. It's the last group of the night, the last best of 3. And if you're just tuning in as well, I apologize. I know I'm looking ridiculous right now, but this is the difference of me crying in the corner of my room versus not. We're trying to get through the rest of this cast together, but as soon as this is done, I'm basically going to go probably have a shower, even though I've had one today, soak in as much water as possible, and then crawl under my covers and hide from the allergies. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a sniffly day for Rifkin. And
Dude, I hope you don't get a science infection.
a science infection? So what, I start learning chemistry and shit?
Sinus.
I hope
Sinus.
not either. This is actually pretty bad. I've never had an allergy attack this bad before, but this weird get-up's helping a little bit. But then I keep getting these sneeze attacks, so that's why Zombie Grub has been awesome in solo casting, guys. So hopefully come Sunday, Rifkin will be back to 100%. But yeah, we're just waiting in the game. Ruff needed a quick BRB because emergency, something happened. And as it would turn out, Allegra is not my cup of tea for allergy meds, and I'm gonna go try and find it something else for Sunday.
Cat.
Dude, fun marketing fact. Would you like to know why I use the Allegra brand of medication?
Because of the commercials?
No, there's this like really bad show. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like one of those like Saturday morning YTV, 2 kids in space adventures type thing. And one of the kids' name was Allegra. And growing up, I had a huge crush on Allegra. So naturally, that's the allergy medicine I buy that has always proven to work for me prior to today.
I get that. I get it.
Not gonna lie, man. Like I was too young to understand the phrase "sex sells," but you're like, I don't know, Allegra. Eh.
I imagine this to be a child, by the way. Am I wrong in this?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm talking like I'm like 8 or 10 at the time, like really young.
Okay.
But the name stuck. That's my point.
Hey, cat. Hey, cat. Cat.
Which cat? Your white one?
Oh, yeah, he's the one that jumps up here.
You always talk about your other one, but I've never seen any other cat. Like just.
Well, none of my cats are really bothersome. Well, Ziggy. Ziggy's the one that you hear that is really loud. The one you think you're in your room.
Yeah, but I think there's a cat behind me looking for attention. It's Zombie Grubs.
Yeah, yeah. Ziggy actually is a scaredy cat, so if you ever visited my house, you would never see him.
Yo, it's weird. I wonder. My cat will react to some things like on a screen. Like if I'm in my bed on my laptop, I was watching like this thing with crows solving puzzles because I thought it was really cool. But my cat would like totally. She was like, oh my god, that's a bird. Like watching the screen falling in around and stuff. But then like I show her like a mirror or like other cats on the on YouTube videos. She just doesn't care. She's like no reactions whatsoever. Your cats ever get anything similar to that?
Oh, well, my Apollo follows the cursor sometimes, if he notices it. It's just pretty funny. So he'll just be like,
You must go ham with a laser pointer then.
funnily enough, no. Pyro, my other cat, goes totally nuts over it, but Apollo's the druggie. You give him catnip and he's just freaking out.
I'm telling you, you still need to try this. Like, you gotta find catnip
Oh, I told my
bubbles
mom
sometime.
about that, and she gave me this look. She was like,
That's
She
the
thought that
face
was
the
such a-
cats make when they find the bubbles.
she thought it was such a great idea.
Yeah, for those who don't know what we're talking about, in the past we've talked a little bit about you get catnip bubbles, and I found some for my cats a little while ago. It is really funny watching them. Like, they can smell it as it's a bubble, of course, and the bubble pops on them, and they kind of go like, what just happened? Like the face zombie grub made a moment ago, like kind of is similar to that, but we are just waiting. Everyone looks good to go.
Yeah, ready. Nothing.
You know the one thing I really like about this ugly getup I got on right now? I don't know why. Maybe it's the allergies. I feel like I sound cooler. Like I could talk like this.
You don't sound that much cooler. Like, you don't sound that much different.
Whatever, zombie grub.
You always sound cool, Riffy.
Oh, well, in that case, thank you. Where are the drugs at?
For a while there, you're sounding less like Batman and more like an 80-year-old woman with like severe like smoker talk.
When I was your age, I could smoke 5 packs a day.
Oh god.
And your mother. Oh, your mother. Okay, actually, bad impressions aside, guys. PlayStation is finally starting up. Game number 2. I'll leave the microphone to Zombie Grub, and we'll see you guys in a moment.
Welcome back. We're in a game number 2 between Ruff and Jarppi, and it is on Waystation. And they have a right as the blue Terran. It is Jarppi. The right Terran. In the bottom left as the red Terran, it is Ruff. Last game we did see Hellions actually again be really crippling to Jarppi. Just wall off faster. No, what to tell you, man. That's just one thing that's really gonna help you out. Anyway, I know you did it, the last Overgrowth game. I know he did it, but then he got dropped anyways with Hellions. But it's you know, wall off, worry about the drop, bam, you're into a mid game. I think it's the best way to go. Well, anyways, 12 gas probably gonna be for at least a Reaper opener from Jarppi, 1 or 2. Yeah, because it was after barracks. And just a 13 for Ruff, so probably going into a 1-1-1. Although with Ruff, it's whatever he wants to be. But I expect this game to be just as quick as the other two, honestly. Sometimes you get evenly matched players where they can still be very aggressive, but their aggressiveness is just met with very good defense as well, and we get a very long, very action-packed game. Or we get severe differences in skill or knowledge of the matchup, and it ends very quickly. You know, like 8 minutes is when, at the very least, we know the game is over, even though GG hasn't been called. Like I said, even with 13 gas on racks, I can start calling loads of things. Like, you know, it usually means he's going straight up to a starport. Well, not with Ruff. I mean, he's getting a second barracks because F you zombie grub. That's what. Don't either. Jarppi did not see that. He should go back in, as the SCV is hanging around. But since, well, actually, did he see? He saw the gas timing, and he also saw the Marine pop out. So that tells you that it was obviously not a Reaper. And if you're gonna go for double racks Reaper, you start with a Reaper. So he might not even be considering the fact that another Rax is down, even though it's not gonna be for Reapers. But he's not worried about it right now. This Marauder coming across the map is kind of weird. I mean, it does have enough health that it does take down a Marine, but you're banking on them like they're, I don't know. I guess you get 2 SCV kills maybe because they're going to try and surround your Marauder. But with the double Marine production, this Marauder actually doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, enough for Jarppi. But it does give him scouting, so at least he won't assume that is a command center on the way or a Banshee on the way. He's going to know that it's a double Rax, so a little more bio pressure earlier on. As he sees now, it's like 4 Marines. You know, what was the timing on that? Was there a reactor down? What happened there? Well, he says no, it's not a reactor, it's a tech lab. So is he thinking right now? Is he saying, okay, there's got to be another Rax? It's only really has 4 Marines, or is he just assuming that he mistimed or misjudged what most people have at that time? I'm not sure. A little bit of supply block, unfortunately, for Ruff. Actually, a real big supply block. But he has enough to defend here. And in fact, he's a little scared of this being a proxy or a dedication more than what it is, I would say. But better to be safe than sorry and all that. What's on the bunker, to be completely safe from marauders. We did see Ruff in the bracket stages face a Terran where we saw him do this. Of the many things that we see him do in TVT, this is another one where he went for the double racks earlier on, straight up to a starport. I believe that was the game where it became like a weird base trade scenario, and Ruff ended up winning. But Jarppi is also not going for what would be usually standard in TVT. He didn't go straight up to a starport. He didn't get a lot of Hellions. He also got a second racks with a reactor, though, and is going up to starport and medevac just a little bit later than Ruff. Jarppi actually scans too. He's like, you know, what is going on exactly over there? I'm not sure. So he sees the starport moving over. He sees the other racks that was there that he hadn't seen before. And now he knows he needs to worry about stim, bio, and medevacs. But honestly, with what he did, I think this build lines up pretty well against what Ruff is doing. It provides a lot of bio, as opposed to if you were going straight up to a starport, you'd have kind of useless, quote unquote, maybe a Viking, 2 Vikings, and some Hellions. Now he's going to have a good chunk of Marines, a Marauder, and that tank that's coming out as well. I think it'll be pretty okay to defend this. And it's probably going along with the whole idea of that as long as you can play defensive, get a wall off, which he did do, by the way, and just take care of any drops, you're going to be completely fine. You're going to get into that mid game where maybe you are stronger than Ruff. You know, you got to worry about doom drops, but you know, maybe in the long term you are stronger. Maybe. Ruff loaded up immediately, though, not even trying to break up to the natural or anything like that. Just loads up, unloads onto the high ground, but with a tank there, he was going to get a free supply depot. But that is well worth it. That's why we're seeing that was actually there for Jarppi. Just can't get around this tank, though. And he shouldn't run into this. This is... Well, okay, he forced out a stim. Jarppi doesn't quite have his medevacs yet, but they are in the way. Not reactored, as the tech lab was immediately put on the factory. So... a little less healing, but again, it's not a dangerous position for either player. Ruff's command center is actually, with how late it is the most dangerous part about this right now. Jarppi has his, so it's not the low ground. So Ruff would really like to do some damage, or at least buy himself a lot of time containing Jarppi to make up for that very late command center. Currently 27 SCVs and 31, so again, the SCV count not that difference, as they're both still only on one base, but if Jarppi can push out, get to the low ground, he will have a better one. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ruff going for the Ghost Academy right now. I did notice that the factory was... Oh my god, Rifkin's having a heart attack right now. Oh my god, or something else, I'm not quite sure by the excitement. It could be something else. Well, Ruff is going for a Doom Drop. Just goes a little bit around where that tank was and goes ahead and, well, he's trying to really demolish the SCVs. Now, again, that's not really that big of a Marine count. So, Ruff, the Doom Drops, just they're not working out as much as they did that second game in the last series where it just completely destroyed Jarppi. No tanks, that deals with it. But what's going to happen is that Ruff is going to go past this base, and the only way that Jarppi can defend it is if he loads up on his own medevac and gets there in time, which is obviously very, very, like, oh no, okay, well, it's already gone. It's like, it's so scary because if you try and load up to defend this base, they can target down your medevac that's carrying all your units, and suddenly you're in a world of trouble. So he just says, I hope he didn't see that. Let me just move the SCVs a little bit over here and just pretend it didn't happen. And he sees all the SCVs in a medevac. All right, then, that worked. That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Just goes ahead and gets the normal natural for him. Those lose out in the mules, but a counterattack could be exactly what Jarppi needs. The ghosts just tried and failed. The bunkers also trying and also failing. And Ruff's counterattack, his drop over on Jarppi's side of the base, It's not doing anything. He is stuck back to 2 bases, or 1 base. His second base was already so late. He's now down by 10 SCVs. A few, I believe, went down as he tried to pull them away. And Jarppi has a very good contain on Ruff. Now, funnily enough, Ruff can go ahead and lift up Natural Command Center and take the base, and I'm sure Ruff going to be saying that exact same thing right now if he was here. Just lift it up and put it over there. That's actually what he's doing. Oh, no, it was a fake. He just puts it back. He, like, picks it up and then puts it exactly where it was. I'm surprised that Jarppi left, honestly. This drop is still going on, but he has enough production to take care of that small drop. He should have just relied on that instead of pulled back, but of course, when it comes to contains and TVT, you can think that you have the best contain in the world, and then suddenly it's gone in an instant, and you're like, what happened? And you're down in army supply suddenly, so I kind of understand his turnaround, leaving, but with 2 tanks on the main ramp on this map, it's just... The thing you have to worry about most is a Doom drop, not them breaking out, you know, from the front. I don't know. Either way, Jarppi is still ahead. He maybe could have contained longer, doesn't matter, but we have a nuke on the way. So, Ruff did show that ghost. If Jarppi was paying attention to what he was killing on Ruff's side of the map, he saw the ghost. The question is, like, what do you do to defend against that? Do you turtle up and just put a missile turret down? Well, that's probably an okay way to defend it, but honestly, the better way to defend it is probably just to push your lead. You have a bigger army, you have a better army with the tanks. Maybe not when they're unsieged. I don't know, but as you can see, Jarppi has enough time to siege them. So he's perfectly fine. But just attacking and killing him is probably going to be so much better. Of course, I suppose you have to remember to keep scans available, because if there is a ghost, they can get maybe that one lucky nuke, or kill off, you know, 1 or 2 tanks, kind of like a cloaked Banshee sometimes does in TVT, if there's no anti-air. Something like that. It does push Jarppi back, which is pretty funny. Of course, he's loaded up 2 medevacs. There is at least 1 tank in there, and he's going straight for the main. Ruff gonna try and do something with this nuke, I think. He scans. It does deploy the nuke. This will hit before the command center finishes. I don't think I kill it, though. Not sure about the math on that. But definitely has to move the Marines and the tanks. Yeah, it won't kill anything here. Not even the supply depots. But a big drop goes off in the main of Ruff, and Ruff really doesn't have anything to deal with it. His entire army is really on the other side of the map because he didn't really have a big one to begin with. The armor supply is 40 to 62. The upgrades, yeah, they're in Ruff's favor, but that does not make up for the low amount of units that he has, and of course the worst tech that he has. No tanks is a very big commitment from a TVT player. Like, that is just, it's almost suicide not to get tanks, honestly, unless you're facing a mech player, and even then, tanks are usually the way to go. Biotank, that is. This drop does good damage, but Jarppi is the one that has enough to deal with it. Ruff does not have enough to deal with the drop at his home. And that's what's really big. Kills the SCV line, kills the Ghost Academy. No more nukes for you, Ruff. I think Jarppi has gotten this. He's above twice the amount of supply of Ruff. 30 army supply to now 72. Third command center far, far ahead. Again, composition much better. And Ruff is going to lose this game. Not even any possible emergency life-saving nukes anymore, as the Ghost Academy did die. And Jarppi is playing safe. He's getting a sensor tower. He's just working on the macro. He knows that he has a lead, especially like not just with like what the initial thing happened with the late command center, but also the fact that Ruff went for ghosts and it didn't work out. Jarppi's got to know that he's in a great position. All he has to do is scan this measly little army, and that's exactly what he does, and then just run in. No need to siege tanks either, honestly. Ruff pulls the SCVs, but Ruff, well, actually, with the SCV pull, he's probably going to defend this. They get on the tanks very fast, and with just barely not enough Marines, Jarppi has to pull back. Well, look at that. But that means that Ruff is down to 9 SCVs. There's no SCVs in the main. They were all done at the natural. Now there's only 9. Okay, there's a couple of SCVs in the main. Whatever. But the point is, not a whole lot. And Jarppi is trying to defend against these drops as well. Ruff goes in with a kind of a decoy medevac, drops the 4 Marines, the 5 Marines that he has, tries to do some SCV damage. The third that Jarppi is taking is weird, but I suppose that'll work. That is not a good third to take. If you guys are looking at that and saying, I guess it's the third I should be taking, that's not true. Don't do that. It's so far away. I mean, look how far away it is. I know that the third in general is far away in this map, but that is a very far away third. whatever. He's so far ahead, doesn't matter. But if Ruff was able to, if Ruff just sent one Marine over there, he would almost get a free third. Seriously. Well, anyways. Ruff trying to push in, is just gonna get deflected immediately. Ruff still not choosing to go for any tanks. Just trying to do what he can with a lot of Marines. And this drop is lasting longer than I expected. Goes for the Doom drop again, but you know, Doom drops, while anything with a Doom drop is effective, I think it's only really effective in TvT when there's tanks involved as well. That's what really gives you the power in it. But these will do a lot of damage very fast and will not be constrained to wherever the tanks siege up. So Command Center goes down, and he might still be able to get out of here too. Nope, that chance is already gone and dead. If he had gotten out and gotten the Command Center, I would be like, what the hell, Ruff? Like, stop. Like, don't come back into this game because you're not supposed to. But he does lose most of his army for that. God, if he saw that third, man, if he just sent one Marine over to that third, he gets the orbital command of the main, and then he gets all of the SCVs plus the third, like, he's suddenly back into this game. And the only thing he'd have to worry about is an emergency counterattack with the army, which might still be impossible to defend against, but seriously, he could have tried doing something. I guess Jarppi just scanned the island base. Yeah, that's what happened. He's got to be. He's saying like, okay, what's going on? You're not exactly dying yet. I think it's just the case that you just need to push in again, Jarppi, and that's what he starts to do. He pushes across the map, says none of these shenanigans. His Marine count really isn't that high though. The tanks need to be sieged. If the tanks aren't sieged, a lot of Marines do take care of them very fast, and in fact, Jarppi has to run away. Jarppi, what are you doing? You had this game. You were literally 120 supplied to just 50. You know, 50 SCVs to just 8. And you're losing your army? Stop. Stop. That medevac with the tank will go down. He has to go back to his main. He still has that third. Oh my god, with the factory sees the third. That is a free third kill. No. Don't wait till you see it. No. Come on. Just send a Marine over there. For the love of God, that is a free third. Ruff, you're trying to come back to this game, and you're almost making it work. Like, it's like, sometimes a bigger Marine count does take advantage of the bigger tank count, but that's usually just like, they at least have some tanks. They're not completely relying only on Marines. But Jarppi just, I guess needs to wait a little while longer. Get a bigger force to make sure that even with unsieged tanks, he still can't lose the fight. Again, a Doom Drop goes in the main, cancels the sensor tower, which would have been so useful. Doesn't do much else. Will be deflected. The upgrades are actually even right now, although 2-2 is on the way for Jarppi. He can't take these fights here. Keep losing, you know, units in these Doom Drops. In that time, not doing a whole lot. Fourth command center is being built at the island base. Main command center has also been reconstructed. That edge that Ruff was starting to get, that tempo that he was starting to accumulate has gone, and he really still has not bought enough time for him to come back in this game in a macro sense. He was really only getting by because he had such a large Marine count. And I think now, finally, Jarppi will die. Or kill him, rather. Yeah, still 20 SCVs. Jeez. It was at 8. So everything was dedicated towards Marines. Everything. And it almost brought him back into this game. He finally sees the third, by the way. And if this had happened while killing the main, such a different game. He doesn't get the free third kill that is expected, though, but it doesn't matter. He is dead. His natural is dead. His main is about to be dead as well. And his army is not big enough to contest Jarppi's this time. It's just not. He's going to try, though. He's going to go for a base race. This is interesting. Ruff's only hope is a base race, though. See, I don't think... He's not pushing into production fast enough for Jarppi. So I think Jarppi just holds up into his main. And he'll be fine. Actually, he has enough down on the low ground to take care of it, so never mind. No option for base trade for Ruff, unfortunately. He will have to tap out. It is now 1-1. Jarppi, for a minute there, like, Ruff was getting back in supply, but no, he does make sure to win this game that was pretty much his. And yeah, Ruff, 2-0 on the first time. Now finding a little bit of trouble.
Ruff is, I feel like he was playing a mono battle that game.
Just Marines only.
I mean, like, truthfully, all jokes aside, I mean, we didn't see any Banshees at any point. The Viking count never really got existent. I don't know. But, as Zombie just said, guys, 1-1. And we'll be sailing into game 3 here. For Ruff, I don't know. You know, he got caught with his pants down versus Cham, trying to go for these silly, weirder things. I don't know that it'll necessarily come up against Jarppi, but Jarppi showed us he can actually take a game off of Ruff. While that was going on, by the way, I was thinking, I need to do a 2v2 squad with Ruff. Then we could call our 2v2 team Ruffkin. No? No dice? Okay.
Why is it Ruffkin? Oh, with Ruff. Okay. Oh, why? What is so funny about Ruffkin?
I did 2v2s with Namshar, dude. We did on the Korean server, no less.
Rifshire.
Well, no, my point is, we went 5-0 versus the Korean zombie group. They even had Korean, like, letters in their name.
Bronze Koreans.
Look, don't assume that they were bronze Koreans. You don't.
Of course
Okay,
I will. You're
so-
playing placement. You're playing placement matches.
All right, fine enough. We're playing placement matches versus bronze Koreans, aka North American Grandmasters. Am I right? Am I right? Anybody? Shots fired? No, because we're casting a North American tournament. Don't make those jokes.
Okay. Thanks for the warning. I won't.
No, it's more for me, but looks like we have a lobby up here for game number 3, folks. Once again, Zombie Grub rocking the solo cast tonight. I'm sorry to leave you hanging like this. It was really not predicted that would happen. But
Okay,
this will be the last game of the last series. The last thing we cast tonight, well, she cast tonight, I guess, as this will decide who will be joining Cham out of Group B.
Yes, that's right. Ruff lose to Cham 2-1 in the winners match. Oof.
Yeah, there's some times in that game I was so worried, like, not worried, but I thought Ruff was really going to bring it back.
No, there was one time where it was like it went from being 50 supply to 120 to like 70 versus like 90, and I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Can't do this, right?
Well, especially with just Marines, no less. I mean, that's what really kind of shocked me, because Marines
Yeah.
tend to be the definition of lackluster, like when they're just alone.
Seriously, like an entire Marine composition is not going to work in someone who has tanks unless they don't have a big enough Marine force to cover the tanks,
Yeah.
which is what happened. He constantly had only like he had like barely half of Ruff's Marines at any given fight. That's why his tanks died so easily.
Mm-hmm.
But well, 4 bases will win out against just barely 2.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, sit tight. Last map introduction for the last game. Tied up 1-1. We'll see you in a moment here on King Sejong Station.
Welcome back. We're into game number 3, the final game of the final match in Group B. We are on King Sejong Station. On the bottom right, as the red Terran, it is Ruff. On the upper left, as the blue Terran, it is Jarppi. And since we finally have a series on our hands, as the last time these two met, it kind of went one-sided in Ruff's favor, we have to bring up the point of if Jarppi kills Ruff here, that's going to be a pretty big deal. I mean, me and Rifkin we really aren't involved that heavily in the South American, pretty much anything besides European, honestly. We're just mostly European casters. Scene. So we don't know a lot about these guys. But every single time that I see, someone that we don't know doing very, very well, especially against someone like Huck or Major, like the Skype chat is going crazy. I know that some of the Twitch viewers are going crazy. Like they're really, really excited that someone from their country is doing very, very well. And that's like that's of course it's a given. Anytime someone from your nation, that's why Nation Wars is doing so well, right? Does well, you're really, really excited about it. This is the chance that they finally have to really show themselves on a bigger platform than just um, some tournament that's not even costed, honestly. This is it's Copa America. And it could happen. Jarppi could like seriously pull an upset where Ruff has been slapping Terrans. Like it's not even that he's playing Ruff, it's that he's playing Ruff's TVT. Ruff's TVT looks so good. And if he takes it 2-1 here, that'd be a pretty big deal. But Ruff, he's probably just saying like, all right, so that game number 2 build, the whole 2-racks thing, all right, mostly because I think Jarppi was doing his own 2-racks build, whereas Jarppi was doing like a standard 1-1-1. Ruff's build probably does a lot more. Probably finds a lot more ways to do something with it. But that was definitely Jarppi picking the right build at the right time. Being able to defend and get to that mid game where he showed that, the one thing that Ruff is giving up most of the times when he does these weird builds is economy. And, they're kind of short-sighted, honestly. He tries to come back into games where the first gimmick didn't work by doing another gimmick, such as that Ghost Nuke Rush. And if that doesn't work either, then you're really, really far behind. So Jarppi just needs to keep track of Ruff's tricks and, meet them head-to-head every single time, and he will win it. Now, Ruff, he did go... The second game that we saw in the last series, he went for something normal, and he just won with a Doom Drop, pretty much. He could do that again here. If he's starting to think that maybe Well, never mind. Never mind. Proxy Starport it is. This isn't the, weirdest of things that we've seen from Ruff, but it's going to be quite difficult because what he's going to be doing here is what's been really stumping a lot of Terrans is the Hellion drops. He's not including any Marines right now, which is really what's been stumping Terrans. In fact, he's floating the barracks over. But what he does is that he gets the Hellions inside the medevac. He, of course, drops the medevac, that old chestnut. But then sometimes you see him put the barracks down and start producing out of it. He's weird like that. Sometimes if he was floating factories, he would start building widow mines from a landed factory. He's weird, but he does it. Oh, wow. Oh, I thought that was a reactor, and I was like, what the heck? No, that's a tech lab. So not even going to be for the medevac. It is going to be for the Banshee. And that is going to be just a much quicker Banshee than we expect. Just, you have a certain timing in your head about Banshees, especially if you're really on point. You expect them to come over. Suddenly they're in the base a good 20 seconds earlier. It can be a pretty big deal. As you can see, the starport for Jarppi not done yet. He's not going to have a Viking anywhere close to being done to deal with this Banshee, and he's reducing Marauders, which, hey, they don't shoot up. They're going to take care of the Hellions, which I don't blame him for being, like, that's his focus right now, because Hellions has been what's killed him. But Banshees is what his defense is weak against. This is going to be a problem. So SV's joined the fight. The Hellions are going to try and break through. And honestly, if he really wanted to dedicate, I think he could break through the Marauders. He would lose a couple of Hellions in the process. But why do that when you have a Banshee on the way? This Banshee takes care of the Marauders for the Hellions. That is his wall. He tries that on a supply depot, but that supply depot won't last very long. This counterattack, it might have been better off here at home. Probably not. The Banshee would kill those two. Going to try and do something off to Ruff side of the base. This is going to get really weird really fast. A Widow Mine is out. It doesn't kill a Banshee. He still needs something else to kill the Banshee. And he will kill the Widow Mine. Another one is out. The Viking is on the way, but not in time. He needs something else to take care of the Hellions, because he's going to take care of the Banshee. Cook is not finished. But the Hellions are going to be his demise again. And he tried so hard to just, like, counter them by going Marauders. Ruff, I think, noticed that. He was like, hey, you're going to go on Marauders. You know what they don't do? They don't shoot up. I'm going to go ahead and get some Banshees. The Marauders on the other side of the map, they try to do something, but they're not the worker killers that Hellions are. They would have taken so long to get surrounded. They die, and Jarppi, ugh! The last game, he looked strong. He looked like maybe he finally had it under control, dealing with all... Honestly, played it pretty smart. Go Marauders, go for a Banshee. The landed Vikings... The other one, well, that tried to live by lifting, that didn't work out. This one, no, especially for landed Vikings, Ruff. That is it. GG, congrats from Jarppi, and Ruff does take the second spot along with Cham out of Group B.